This is Celeste Adams, Director of the museum. I'm going to tell you the story of the St. Eustace panels, works of art that have been in the museum's collection for 60 years and will soon return to their home in Italy. Our story begins with a crime that took place in Italy 100 years ago. In December 1902, the Church of St. Eustace in the small town of Campo Di Giove was robbed. The thieves escaped with an altarpiece painted by a master of the Abruzzo region. It was made of wood and painted with tempera and gold. The altarpiece was constructed as a box with hinged doors that opened to reveal a sacred statue. On the inside of the doors were 16 paintings, 8 on each side, which illustrated scenes from the life of St. Eustace. A photograph taken in 1891 prior to the theft shows the original configuration of the panels. The museum's 2 paintings appear on the top row. A handwritten report of the crime was immediately filed with the Interior Ministry, and several major Italian newspapers ran accounts of the theft. Despite the publicity, the crime went unsolved. The altarpiece disappeared without a trace until 2 of the paintings emerged in the Parisian art market in the mid-1920s. The altarpiece had been cut into 16 individual paintings that were dispersed and sold separately. Buyers had no idea these paintings were from a stolen altarpiece. In the mid-1930s, 2 other panels from the altarpiece were purchased by an Austrian art collector who immigrated to the United States before the start of the Second World War. These panels described the conversion of St. Eustace and his flight from a plague-ridden city. Eventually, he sold the panels to a New York art dealer. In 1947, the Grand Rapids Art Museum acquired the panels from the dealer by trading a miniature painting by Renoir titled Tragic Jocasta, measuring 6 by 1.5 inches. It was not until 1952 that an article in the Harvard Bulletin, authored by Erwin Panofsky, suggested the panels were part of a lost altarpiece from Abruzzo. But the complete story had not yet emerged. In 1978, in an article published by New York University, Professor Marvin Eisenberg of University of Michigan identified the Grand Rapids panels from the stolen Campo Di Giove altarpiece. Repatriation of stolen cultural property requires a claim from the country of origin and documentation or proof of the theft. The issue of repatriation has become increasingly important for museums today. Works of art stolen from religious shrines, temples, and churches left their country of origin without permission of the governments, and such works can be reclaimed without limitation of time. A year ago, as the museum was preparing to move into this new building, I received an email letter from Luca Nicoletti, a graduate student in Italy. He requested photographs of the St. Eustace panels for an exhibition that would attempt to reconstruct the altarpiece. This correspondence opened conversation with Italian officials about the panels. Professor Cristiana Pasqualetti and Cultural Minister Anna Imponente provided the evidence needed by the museum to take the proper action. The Board of Trustees voted to repatriate the panels to Italy and to share the story with the Grand Rapids community in order to establish general understanding and goodwill. Professor Eisenberg, who retired from the university 17 years ago, described the museum's action as noble and a model for other museums. Yale University Renaissance scholar Lawrence Cantor stated, "The action of the Grand Rapids Art Museum is commendable. These panels will have far greater meaning and importance in their home region than they would in any international museum setting." In Grand Rapids, former ambassador to Italy Peter Secchia and his wife Joan supported the museum's repatriation, saying, "We respect the museum for restoring a work of art that is so important to the cultural heritage of Abruzzo." What will the paintings mean to their home region? Abruzzo is a mountainous region west of Rome. It was while hunting in the mountains of Abruzzo that Placidus, a Roman general, saw the apparition of Christ in the horns of a stag. He converted to Christianity and took the name Eustace. He later died a Christian martyr by order of the Emperor Hadrian. Campo di Giove declared Eustace their patron saint, and on April 7, in the year 1188, Pope Clement III dedicated the church at Campo di Giove to Saint Eustace. By the late 14th century, devotion to Saint Eustace was widespread, and it was during this time that the panels were painted. Eustace was included in a medieval compilation of the lives of the saints called the Golden Legend, a literary source for many artists. He appears as the subject of a major painting by Pisanello, now in the collection of the National Gallery, London. Scenes of the hunt were popular in the Middle Ages and early Renaissance, and the St. Eustace story allowed artists to focus on the beauty of nature, richness of animal life, and heroism of the hunt, while also describing a sacred legend. Devotion to St. Eustace also extended to Northern Europe, where he was depicted in manuscripts and stained glass windows. The great German artist Albrecht Dürer dedicated one of his finest engravings to the conversion of St. Eustace. The second Grand Rapids panel describes his flight from a plague-ridden city. St. Eustace was one of the saints to whom Christians prayed to be spared from the plague, which struck 1 in 5 people throughout Europe during the 14th century. Devotion to St. Eustace traces its origins to Abruzzo, and it is to this region that the museum's panels will now return. In 1860, L'Aquila became the principal city of Abruzzo. It lies at the foot of the highest peak of the Italian mainland south of the Alps, and today the region is well known for skiing. The National Museum of Abruzzo occupies a former castle and fortress. Scholars at the University of L'Aquila are working to reassemble the St. Eustace altarpiece, which will be on view at the National Museum. The repatriation of the Grand Rapids panels will be a major step forward in this worthy project.